Households of the Western world, stop overcooking your turkeys and cook them like this. Turkey gets a bad rep. It's actually a really tricky thing to cook perfectly. The problem with it is, it's not like a traditional chicken. You've got this really sort of, it's quite sometimes quite a little bit tougher dark meat on the legs, and these huge breasts, and it's not like a natural thing. We've bred it to be like that. The best way to cook a turkey is to butcher it properly and cook it separately. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking the legs off. So I've just gone down, I've left a little bit, taken a bit of the skin from the leg to make sure that the skin fully covers the breast. And that's super important because that's going to be a really nice natural protection against the heat of the oven. So I don't know about you, but my dad used to cook the turkey. He used to put it in the oven the night before and then wake up at like 5 in the morning and baste it, and thought that was the best way. It was the driest, most awful overcooked bird, and it kind of made me, when I was younger, a little bit like, I want to say, it's going to sound a bit dramatic, but a little bit phobic of turkey meat. And then it was only when we went to my wife's house for dinner that I had it cooked properly, and I really, really started to enjoy it. And the thing is with it, when you cook a whole turkey, it's never going to work. So you're never ever going to get those cooked at the same time as this. And taking this apart like this just gives you so much more freedom. And also, you get the added benefit of a really good gravy. So I've just taken the legs off, I've taken the back off, and I'm just going to cut down the backbone as well, and I'm going to take the wishbone out, which is a nice little touch. I know obviously people like to do the wishbone after they've carved it, but it makes it so much more easy to carve. It's definitely worth it. So take that out as well, and then just go in, take the wishbone. You've already taken a little bit of it away, but remove the rest. Should just pull out nice and easy. Nice and clean like that. And then inside the turkey as well, I always take this out. So it's just, I think they call it a feed sack, and it's the same with most poultry, so it's just not very nice to eat. I just take this little bit of a feed sack out of the top because it's quite tough. Sometimes it contains whatever the bird was eating whilst it was slaughtered as well. Take that out. So there you've got perfectly clean area for carving, which just makes it super easy. We've got our 2 legs. Now the wings, I just take off here because they as well overcook, and they're best they make a really, really good gravy. Now the reason I'm not going to take basically the drums off is because it removes too much of the skin, and then you'll have the skin coverage affected by it. So that's my finished bird. So you can see it's the whole back removed. Basically it makes sure that the heat transfers from the underneath as well. And this, unconventionally, this bird will take about 40 minutes to cook, absolute max, and then the real art to get a really juicy turkey is in the resting. Trimming off from a little bit of that excess. And then this is the most important tip, brine. So this is a 10% herb brine, and you hear people about, they're brining their turkey overnight. This is 10% salt. You don't want it, to cure the meat or over season it. So the best thing to do is just to keep it in there for about 5 or 6 hours. So not the whole day, and then dry it off before you cook it. So you get a really nice skin. So what I'm going to do with the legs is I'm just going to really simply just take out the bones, and we're going to brine these 2 in the same brine for the same amount of time. And then you can stuff these as well. So you can make a little ballotine and stuff it with like a nice pork stuffing or something to give it extra moisture, or you can just literally just wrap it up in bacon and roast it in a nice ballotine, and it's so much more satisfying. Like, there'll be absolutely no leftovers because the leg meat 100% is tastier than the white. I remember cooking Christmas dinner when I was like 12 years old, and then I literally I used to go around and ask for tips from all my relatives. So I was hustling from a young age. And I do always actually do the Christmas dinner. I think it's one of those things, most chefs say they don't actually cook at home. So what I've done there is I've just taken the thigh bone out, I've taken the leg bone out. Get your butcher to do this if you can. But this is when you go to your butcher and you've asked them to give you a turkey crown with legs and thighs removed and deboned. That's all you need to do. And then the brining and stuff like that you can do at home, but it's super, super simple, super easy. I was obsessed with Christmas. Christmas dinner from a young age. Like, I used to plan my Christmas dinner like months and months in advance, and I remember my dad like snapping at me because he was like basically complaining that all I'd done for months before Christmas was just talk about different condiments and sides on the Christmas dinner. So yeah, it was a bit of an obsession when I was younger. And this technique, actually, I think I read in a Gordon Ramsay book and tried it, and just like once I'd done it, I was just like, well, that's definitely the best way to do it. Made a lot of sense. So something that's more important with turkey, the sinews in the legs are quite strong, so those bones go into the stock, and you need to remove them. So in a chicken leg, you almost don't even taste them. But in a turkey leg, you do. I think sometimes that's the reputation of it being stringy, but you can just see that they're just these very well developed tendons, and they just need to be taken out. Again, you can get your butcher to do all this, or if you've got a bit of time on Christmas and you want to escape the kids and drink champagne in the kitchen, make the excuse that you've got to devein your turkey legs. But what you're essentially doing is you're making your life on Christmas Day by doing this, like, you know, the day before, a couple of days before. Just super simple. And these literally just get banged in the oven, and it's go time. Slice them up. No messing around picking the meat off the bones. It's all done before, meaning that on Christmas you don't actually have to worry about anything other than put stuff in your face. So that's the main tendons removed. You can just run your knife through this bit now. I always take this off now. So there we have our first one. So you got thigh, leg, no sinews in there. Don't know why we only eat it one time of the year. It's quite strange, really. So what I've done here is I've taken off these, the back bits, the wings, and that is the basis for a really amazing chicken gravy. So you can just roast these bones in the oven, make a nice turkey stock. You're not going to use that. People usually leave it on. I don't know about you, but no one's going to be gnawing on a turkey wing on Christmas, you know, when you've got loads of lovely breasts. So make a delicious gravy out of all that and utilize it as best you can. And these I'm just going to whack into the fridge. They're going to brine for about 6 hours, and I'll take them out, I'll rinse them for 20 minutes and dry them off thoroughly. Big dog, you right? Christmas, man. Christmas is coming. Right, so this has been brining now for 6 hours. So just remove any of the herbs from the brine. The herb brine is super simple to make. It's just basically 10%, whatever liquid you want to do. It's 10% of salt to water. Remove the thyme, and it's slightly firmed up the meat. You can see that it's brined. Definitely does change the texture of the meat. And now it's seasoned all the way through. So I'm just going to let that dry off. Ideally, you let that dry off overnight, but equally, if you've not got time, you're in a rush, a really good dry with some paper towels and get that skin super dry. So all I'm going to do with the legs is grab some tin foil and then just lay down bacon. I love streaky bacon. I know in England we're meant to stick with the back, but streaky is the one. The Americans got something right. Like and subscribe. So what I do now, just lightly hammer it a little bit. If you get like pancetta, you can probably skip this step, and I'm actually going to leave the skin on because I personally like it. You can remove the skin if you want to, and if you want to, you can stuff this with pork stuffing, whatever you want. But just for ease, I just prefer just to roll it like this, keeping it nice and tight. Boom, you got a Christmas cracker. There you go. So that's a really simple preparation for the leg. What I tend to do is I just release the skin. So people put butter underneath the skin, they put oil, they massage the breast, they put bay leaves, they put thyme down there. Personally, I don't like carving it when it's got lots of herbs underneath the skin, and I think they can be quite tough. And also, the herbs are in the brine, so that you've got that herb flavour through already. And what I'm doing now is almost like you use a bike pump or a pneumatic pump to get rid of the skin on a crispy duck. So just detaching it away from the breast, it just allows it to get crispy, and that's what we want. We want a really nice succulent breast, but with a beautiful golden crisp to the skin. As it cooks, steam comes out of the meat, and then it creates a little layer, and then the heat from the oven just basically gets it a little bit more crispy. So yeah, I've just detached the skin, and then I just liberally season it with salt. I think people cook it with tin foil on. What I found is you don't need to do that. I think the best way to do it is just to get the ultimate crispy skin, it's just to cook it quite quickly. So I don't cook it. Some people say they put it into a hot oven and then they reduce it. I don't. I whack it into a 180 degree oven and cook it fairly conventionally, and then just give it a really long time to rest. And that is it. So these are going to go in the oven together. If you want to, you can put some vegetables underneath for your stock. 180 degrees for around about 35 minutes, and then we'll remove the foil and glaze it all up nicely. So just pull this out, and I can tell it's definitely cooked. That was 43 minutes, and I've just taken the tin foil off. So what now I do is, sometimes I just pierce it here just to make sure, and if the juices are running out, yeah, nice and clear, that's perfect. You want to still serve it warm, so I'm just gonna let that cool for about 8 to 10 minutes, and that just allows the heat to go through. And then with these little legs that have been thoroughly cooked now, I just add the juice from the tray into a little bit of marmalade, and then I always use English mustard, but you can use Dijon if you want, and then just mix that up nicely. And we're just gonna spoon that over, and that'll caramelize and get nice and sticky on top of the bacon. So whack that back in the oven whilst your turkey cools. So these have been in the oven for about 10 minutes with the marmalade glaze on, and it caramelizes nice and quickly. You can see I've just put all the glaze from the tray on there as well. And I'm just finishing carving this turkey. So go down nice and clean. So basically, most people, they'll carve the turkey like this, that you see traditionally, but it's definitely not the best way. And this is the best way, 100%. So you just take it off there, and then, well, you can see we've got really nice crispy skin, and the flesh is super, super moist, cooked all the way through. And then, pretty simply, personally, I quite like fairly chunky size. So super, super juicy, really moist. So that's rested for about 25, 35 minutes. You can rest it for longer if you want to get ahead. But then with the carbon, just exactly the same on the other side. So run your knife down. That is the benefit of doing the wishbone. It really does make a massive difference when you're carving. So just finding the bone and letting the knife do the work. Right there. And then you can turn it over, and you can just gently come underneath the breast, take it off. So that would be your turkey gravy or stock for the next day. Make a little turkey soup with it. Slice, so crispy that skin, nice thick slices. And just see how juicy it is. And that's the process of brining it as well, helps with that. And this one, super simple, just slice it. Boom! I guarantee the brown meat, it'll go quicker than the white meat if you follow that method. And then look how super, still really, really nice and moist. Perfectly seasoned the whole way through, so you don't need to add salt. Really beautiful crispy skin. That is the ultimate way to prep and cook a turkey.